Hello again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up and maintain the GL default AR and AP posting file. This is another necessary step in setting up the GL for use for the very first time. These steps allows you to essentially tell the system what all the major default GL accounts, where to post them, for example, AR, accounts receivable, accounts payable, checking account, taxes, retained earnings, so that you don't have to do it repeatedly for each of the daily transactions that you go through. What I mean by default accounts is that if let's say if you don't specify a particular debit or credit account in, say, your invoice or payment, the system would then assume to use these default accounts and post them. By having these default accounts, you are saving quite a bit of repetitive data entry for each of your invoice. You don't have to key it in, for example, the debit account for receivable or the credit income account for each and every invoice. This option takes care of all that for you. So as you can see from the general ledger module, you can go into under setup GL and AR posting file. And by default, normally a new system would already be preloaded with these 14 or 15 default accounts. You can see they are listed here. You have accounts receivable, you have the bad debts account, you have the retained earnings, sales income, default surcharge, state tax, refunds, returns, discounts, and cash and checking account, for example. If any of these default accounts are missing, the system will not allow you to post any GL entries at all. So please make sure that you have all of these accounts, and also make sure that you have a valid GL account, because that's where you're going to be drawing or making the link between what's the default receivable account is with the actual number on your chart of accounts. We do have another video to show you how to maintain and set up your chart of accounts, so please consult that video when you have a moment. In addition to what's built in here, so in this case you have the accounts receivable linked to account 1006. And what it means by that is that all your typical invoices will be posted against this account. And also there's a default sales income account, which is 4,000, which is this account here, 4,000, which is sales. Now you do have the option to add additional accounts beyond the default list, and to do that, let's take an example. For example, let's say you have a department or revenue code, let's say department 15. Okay, so let's go into department file, and let's take a look. Okay, so department 15 isn't there, so we can add it to the list. Okay, department, let's say dash 15, department 15. Okay, alright, let's save that. So now we have department 15 listed on the production department list. However, we want to link that department revenue code to a particular income account or sales account in the GL. So let's go into, again, set up AR GL posting file, and we're going to add it. Okay, we're going to add this, and under AR postcode we're going to put in the exact spelling of that department. So we're going to use department dash 15, and the post description will be, again, department maybe sales, department 15 sales. Okay, and under AR post account, we're going to select account number 4009, which is sales department 15. Alright, so you notice I can use the drop down and select the department code. You can certainly repeat this for any number of other customized income accounts that you want to link back to your specific GL account number. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's take a quick look at how a typical invoice would be posted to GL if we were to leave them the way by default without any credit or debit account associated with that. So let's just take a look at invoice number 1156. So for this invoice, there's no let's go into 1158. Have anything here? Okay. So for this invoice, you can see there are two line items with an invoice total of $4,550.55. If we were to post this invoice the way it is without specifying any debit or credit amount or account, then this amount would be debited against the default account, which is, let's take a look, which is account number 1006. So the system by default can post that $45 or so $100 against the default accounts receivable account, which is 1006, and it's going to debit against the default income accounts, which is in this case account 4000 for the full amount. Okay. However, for each invoice, you do have another option to, as needed, but this is not unusual. This is not usual. Excuse me. For you to go in and specify, okay, which debit account I want to assign this particular invoice to. That's too time consuming. It's rare, but you have the option to do so. If you leave it blank, it goes toward the default GL account. If you want to go against, let's say, loan receivable, for example, then you can do so. And in addition, you can split up this total against multiple credit accounts. So in theory, you could split this up against multiple sales revenue account. Go down here. Typically, it's 4000 series. Oops, sorry. Okay, so you can do, let's say, 4000 or 4001. You can do, let's say, $2,000 against 4001, and then you can do 4002. Excuse me. Okay, you can do 4002 of the remaining, if you like. Again, that's an option that you have to split this invoice into multiple debit accounts, or single debit account, accounts receivable, and multiple credit accounts against sales and income. But usually you don't have to do this if you set up the default AR and AR posting file. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out this. And you have the same for AP default posting. So let's take a look at the GL AP posting file. Again, typically in a new setup, you have a default sets of default accounts, like accounts payable, which in this case is linked to account number 2060. You have the check and cash account, which is 1001. Now, this default checking account is used for the purpose of AR receivable deposit, as well as computer checks or payments against accounts receivable vouchers, invoices. There is an default expense account, as well as returns and allowances and bad debts. So let's go ahead and take a look at the accounts receivable, accounts payable voucher. We're going to look up accounts receivable, accounts payable voucher. And for this voucher, number, let's see, 121156, we have an amount of $1,000. And if we don't specify an account, it's going to be debit against the accounts payable default account, and the other amount, the credit amount, will be against the specified invoice expense account, which is 5421 for the same amount, which is in this case $1,000. As you can see, these default AR and AP accounts, go back there, GL, default AP, okay, default AP and default AR accounts, they were designed really to save you a lot of the data entry on a daily basis. And once you have configured these accounts in the GL posting file, you rarely have to go back and change them again. I hope this video has been was useful for you. This concludes the training video on how to set up and maintain the default GL AR posting files. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again in the next video.